What is going on, everyone? Michael Demond here with the latest episode of Starbeam.one, Stand Up and Shine and Shill. A little series I put together to keep people who are interested up to date with Starbeam.one, my project I've been working on since 2019. This is modeled after the agile methodology of daily stand-ups, where you tell your teammates what you've been working on, what you're going to be working on, and any sort of friction points that you are encountering. And what I've added is so much more. Let's begin. Okay, starting off the program here with program notes. This is sort of a high-level overview of what's happening, and I know last time I was really excited about Alpha 3, is feeling really confident about that, and at this point it's 2 weeks away, and I'm not feeling so confident at this point, but we'll see. We'll see how we do here in 2 weeks. I'm going to get into that here in the next few slides, and then I did talk about the contest last time, and the same thing. There's some discussion here on how to proceed with that, and we're going to see how we're going to do that. So maybe not so as confident as last time, but we'll see here in the next few weeks. Okay, dashboard, right? This is where the statistics are, the shill part of the episode, where I kind of walk you through the statistics and maybe if there's anything on the site that is different or interesting, and we'll do that here with a hamburger menu. And you can see that we have some additions or some modifications of our menu. We got a different color now. We got a cool fade background, sort of a blur effect in the background, and you can get to the dashboard anytime. You don't have to be logged in. You just scroll down here to dashboard, and that will take you to this page, which shows you the leaderboard, and it refreshes once per hour, and we're actually 5 minutes away here from the next refresh, but we can just walk through the stats as they are right now, and we can see that, you know, we continue to add new users, basically one user every day right now, which is pretty awesome. We're very much appreciating that. And our artists, we passed 50, and we're almost up to 70 collectors. But we scroll down a little bit more, and we see that our 24-hour is not very good right now. We kind of missed the windows here where we'll have like $20 to $30 in 24 hours, and now like right now it's just slow again during demos. So maybe we should maybe we should have it so that we have a little bit more activity during demos. But also I kind of like that because I want to keep things honest, right? And I don't want to have a product where I'm trying to like make it look bigger than it is, right? This is us. We try to be honest, and this is also in kind of another differentiating point from cryptocurrencies. You see a lot of projects out there, and you get the sense that they're not really being honest with you, and I kind of want to be different for better or for worse. So here you are, $3, 24-hour sales volume, we are still getting increasing volumes here, increasing amounts. We're almost up to 1750, so there's that. We also added the resales, so now we have the sales up here at the top, and then we've got resales here under that, and we were really poor again with the resales, but hey, honesty, right? I can't beat the price of that. So but then after that, we now combine that into a total sales and resales volume of the network. So this is kind of new. This is sort of the new metric we're looking at, because this combines all of the transactions for sales and resales, and also the amount of royalties being paid. So the only thing that this does not include are the network gratuities. So everything else, we've got sales, resales, and royalties being paid, and we're including that in the 24-hour volume because that's what they do for cryptocurrency measurements. So we're kind of wanting to get compare apples to apples sort of thing. So we're almost up to $2,000 of all-time volume for our network here. So that is awesome. And we're also scrolling a little bit further down here. We're also getting up to 2,500 total sales, and the average amount is slowly increasing here. We're getting 0.7, and that's kind of where our activity is. We'll see here in a little bit. So 126 connections today. We're 2 minutes away. If I keep talking here, we'll see a little bit of a refresh for the most up-to-date statistics there. And we'll scroll here. No new users today, but you can see we're right around one per day. And so we'll scroll here with Google and Twitter continue to be our dominant identity providers, and we still have Reddit increasing as well, and DeviantArt is getting up there. So we can just scroll down through here, and we've got our licenses. We know we're kind of going between 15 to 25 per day, I would say, seems like, and we just passed our 3,500 license, so that's a cool little metric there. And kind of scrolling through for our inventory. This is kind of increasing a little bit, and we're really, to be honest, we're really hurting for collectors. And this is kind of like the big thing we're going to be talking about is how do we get collectors here? And, it's just, I think we're just going to have to start spending money. So it's just gotten to that point where we tried basically every tool in the toolbox, and we're going to try to get some collectors here. And because this number should be going down, and it is not. So we've got that going. And for our markets, you can see, basically the standard market's doing really well. Like most of our sales right now is through the standard market. And Feature does have some sales, and we are getting some sales out of that. We're still getting some transactions and sales out of the traditional market as well. So that's it's still going on. It's just, we really need to get some collectors, and that's sort of starting to weigh on me a little bit. And hopefully we can get that resolved here soon. And I don't think that's basically, we got all that kind of squared away here, the main statistics. I think the last one here we want to see is, does this number equal 0 at the bottom? And it does. Okay, so one thing I want to show we also worked on is these our watermarks. So I'm going to go to our front page here, and scroll here, and go welcome. And our watermarks have changed. So now we used to have, we actually still have them there. You can see them a little bit with some of the older reissuances. So the old watermark, we had the logo, and it was just transposed in a translucent manner over that. But our new ones, we've kind of fancied it up a bit. So we've got our two watermarks now, and there's a bit of a honeycomb that goes on the background, and there's some you can barely see them, but they're there. That's sort of more of like a signature sort of thing. And then there's kind of like the visual impairment, but not really kind of watermarks as well. And these are really kind of nice. So it's just our logo again, but kind of separated out throughout the image, and it just sort of provides a way of saying, hey, this is a watermarked image, but also allowing you to see what's under it. So that was kind of a big addition, and I kind of wanted to show that off. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so what did I do now? We talked about watermark, and that's a second point here. But I also, kind of the big story here is that one of the big things that I have talked about this before is that artists will be typing in information, and then the server cuts out for whatever reason. It might actually be the server got refreshed, there's a new deployment, or there was just a connection problem. Or you have some browsers that, for whatever reason, decide to refresh when you're away from it for however amount of time, and that's what happens. And whatever the reason, the browser refreshes, and the artists lose everything that they typed. Well, that is now fixed. Ish. It's under test right now, and it seems like it's doing pretty good. But right now, what happens is that we do two things. When we detect when a browser page needs to be reloaded, because before you had to press that button. There's like a little tiny link up top, and it was really difficult to get to, but now it just automatically refreshes. You don't have to do a thing, and it refreshes for you. And then the other thing that we've done is an autosave feature. So when a page is under edit and it has an autosave and you're typing, it will save every few seconds, or actually it's every second after you last type. So if you're typing, it'll wait 3/4 of a second before it triggers off an event, and it will save the document, and then that saves it to your local browser. And then when you hit refresh, or the connection disconnects for whatever reason, it refreshes for you and loads that in, and things work as expected now. And so we don't have to be so finicky with our deployments, and we'll talk about one last issue with that. So there was that, and the last thing kind of note is our Discord server. I spent time this morning getting that all kind of situated, a little bit more organized. Now we have threads. We've got forum channels now where people can type in and start threads and forums, kind of keeping information a little bit more organized and long-term viable, because you quickly find when you're typing things, it's just, the search feature for Discord is actually really good, but as you know, it's not one of the things that you kind of go to or think about unless you're really, if you're really familiar with Discord, then you can probably do it. But threads are a lot better way of organizing that, and so we have that now. And plus, it's also a community server now. So I don't know why I didn't do this before, and I just, it's taken me a while to get a hold of Discord to really kind of understand that. But now we have that, and so now we're a community server. Okay, so what am I doing now? Now, these 2 weeks, I didn't get as much done. We're talking about marketing and just juggling all these different items, and always in the air, and the marketing itself, getting collectors. That's a huge stress point. All of our sales basically are through artists. They have been for a couple months now, and it's starting to get to me, right? Like, it's my impatience is starting to get to me, and I'm hoping that we can start getting more collectors on board, because we really need them. We have really dedicated collectors right now, but we need a few more. And so because of that, I'm spending time with marketing and schedule slipping a little bit. And that's kind of what I'm wanting to talk about here. We've got, Alpha 3, and the last remaining items here that are fitting into the schedule are this email policy. So we're going to make it so that it's required. So and I'm hoping this takes a few days, when you sign in now, if you don't have an email registered, it's going to ask you for that, and it's going to require that going forward. So we're going to have that in this week. And this is one of those things where we could start advertising, but we have this problem, right? We have, people might have support, and, we don't have email required, and so that might cause some problems. So we want to have this in place, then we can start advertising, sort of thing. So there's that, and there's also this other big problem with merging accounts, because people keep creating accounts. They'll sign in with their Google, and then they'll immediately sign out, and then sign in with their Twitter, and then there's complications with that, right? So they'll do things like sign in with their Google, and then they'll register an email address, and then they'll sign out and then sign in with their Twitter, and that causes 2 accounts to get created, and it's a big mess. And so now we're going to make it so we can merge accounts, and then we're going to make it so that when you sign in, it kind of shows you what you've signed in before, and reduces and mitigates that problem, hopefully, going forward. And then finally, there's this last scenario of deleting accounts, right? So this is a huge challenge. We're going to start walking through some analysis with this, because this is where cryptocurrency, to be honest, has an advantage over us, because if you do delete an account on, say, OpenSea, I don't even know if you can, but all you have to do is disconnect your wallet, because everything that belongs to you is yours. And so they've got a really good selling point with that. With us, we're proprietary, right? We're centralized. And so they kind of get us here with that, because if you delete your account, what happens to your licenses when you have purchased? Well, right now we're just going to deactivate the account, right? They just sit there, sort of thing. But, is there a better way that we can handle that? Ultimately, if we do like a centralized sort of format where we could export those licenses to like another service, we could do that. But we don't have that yet. This is alpha pre-V1 sort of thing. And so we're going to have to think about that. But basically, I'm going to make it so that if you have value in your account, like you have flares in your account, you're going to have to get those withdrawn first so that your flare amount is down to 0. And if you have licenses, that's the tricky part. So if you've already bought something and you have those licenses there, most you can do is deactivate your account. And so when you deactivate your account, it's sort of like what Facebook does, right? So Facebook allows you to deactivate. It just sits there. And then when you sign in again, it reactivates it, sort of thing. So that's what we do. And so this notion of doing a deleting account just entirely, that's something we're going to have to look into and explore a little bit further. Hopefully we can get it done in 2 weeks. I'm doubtful, though. Okay, friction points. We're actually looking pretty good here. I have to say, I am almost getting the feeling, I'm always knocking on wood here, but I'm getting the feeling here that we turned the corner on Razer performance. It does still lag a little bit. I'll still type, and it goes up to 25%, or maybe even 35% for dozens of seconds at a time, but there's this huge problem with memory allocation, and I think they finally fixed it. So there's this huge monster that's been in my world that's just been tormenting me for at least 18 months now, and they finally knocked that out, and I'm waiting to get some confirmation if that is the case, because I basically did development for the past week, and it was awesome. Like, the amount of memory that was used was very low, and then when I closed all my documents and did a forced garbage collection on my solution, it went down to 5 gigabytes consistently, which, usually when I open up the solution, it's about 4 gigabytes, and it will climb up to 6, but it would never go down if I did a forced refresh. It would always stay up at like 10 or 12 or 15 or however much I got it up to. So that seems to be a huge, significant improvement in my world, and I'm hoping that is real. So there's that, and the reason why this is such a huge ordeal is that the memory would never go down, and it would eventually result in garbage collection sweeps, which were constant and frequent. And so my PC would just sit there and hang every 20 to 25 seconds. So I sit there and type, and then every 25 seconds, boom, a garbage collection would sweep, and then I would basically look at my machine for 10 to 15 seconds, maybe even longer, while it sat there and collected. Every 20 to 30 seconds, this is what I had to endure. And so this is a big deal. And it's really, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm going to close the solution and then restart again. And then, when that happens, that's another like 5-10 minute wait while it sits there and processes all the caches. And that's such a hassle. So anyways, this seems like it's really good. In our Azure problem, it looks like we've got a workaround there. So I'm pretty minorly confident around that, so that looks pretty good. And then finally, there's this resharper blazer rendering issue, and that seems like it finally went from open to under investigation. So finally, starting to look a little promising here. All the little fires in my world are finally starting to get, looks like they're starting to quell a little bit, and always knocking on wood here, but that looks a little bit promising. Okay, down the home stretch here, and kind of go through these really quickly. Effectiveness level, morale, I'm actually taking a hit here, and I think I mentioned this earlier with our collectors. I'm just really bummed right now with just the lack of activity, and also there's this pressure because I'm really the engine here, and I have to be either doing marketing or coding, and I need to get these features done. These features have been like looming over us for over a year now. Some of these, like the accounting, right? Like a required email or deleting an account or merging account especially. That's something that we've known for a year now. And it became very obvious, very prevalent, very quickly that people were going to be creating multiple accounts, and we need to make it so that you can merge them or do something to mitigate that. And so, I need to be working on these, but marketing continues to be a drag, and Twitter continues to be a problem and a challenge. And it's just like, how are we going to get collectors to fit the other part of the equation here? We have artists, they're producing such great work and such great content and such great product, but we don't have anyone buying them, right? Or we do, and we do have collectors, but we don't have enough to meet the demand or the production. So we need as many consumers as we have producers, and we have a total mismatch right now, and that's really bumming me out. So my morale has taken a hit because of that. Technology is getting better, right? So 7.5, kind of inching up here to 8. It might actually be 8.5. I'm actually pretty excited now. Finally, there's that CPU burn where it's like, okay, I feel like my PC is a crypto mining rig and the entire time, but it's actually not all that noticeable. All the improvements that ReSharper's made over the past year have finally caught up, and it's actually starting to feel a lot better now. So I'm feeling better about this. Marketing, I actually lied here. This should be like a 4.5. I'm just really so irritated with Twitter and trying to figure that out. And really, I'm not the only one, right? Like people, they're always no one really knows how to work Twitter unless you're paying money. And that's really what it comes down to. And it's like, how do we do this without paying money? And I just think at this point, we might just have to start paying money sort of thing. So that's such a still a challenge. Support continues to be a highlight for me. I'm always feeling comfortable with that, and that maintains a 8.5. Okay, I'm just a really big chattermouth here. I tried to keep this down to 15 minutes, and I went over a little bit, but, thank you to everyone who's still sticking with us during these quiet times of 24-hour, $2 sales volume. This is the kind of thing, too, because I've been doing that the goading, right? I started doing, these little bit of a troll posts, and I know better, right? I shouldn't be doing these because, every 24 hours, we'll look at if we did a good amount. We'll take one of the NFT collectives out there and, do a comparison and make some friends, so to speak. And here we are with $2, and I don't really brag about that, right? So I don't know if I should be doing that anymore, but, here we are. So anyways, I just wanted to thank everyone who's still out there and with us and making purchases, and our collectors who are maintaining with us along with our artists. You are making this work, right? We're a little bit of a dull time right now, but I'm hoping that we can continue and make this thing sing eventually. So hopefully with the next few alphas, we'll get there, and then beta, etc., and eventually release to market here within the next year. All right, so thank you for your purchases, thank you for your support, really much appreciate it, and be sure to tag us there with those hashtags on Twitter, and until next time, stay bright out there and stay safe. Goodbye.